Winter has arrived here in southern Germany, this time for real. Welcome back to Dach's Overland, to Winter Wonderland. Look at this, how beautiful is this? It's amazing. It's not good for building cars, but it's definitely amazing because it's beautiful. My name is Max and I will convert this Iveco VM90 to our new Overlander. Therefore, we will retire our 40-year-old G-Wagon. My wife Danja and I converted it a few years ago and traveled over 50,000 kilometers with it. Our dog Pongo was also really helpful and tried to support us whenever he could. After traveling for almost a year in the G, we decided to start a new build from scratch, including all the things we've learned while building and traveling with it. If you are interested in the reasons why we chose the Iveco over it and what I've done so far on this build, then click on the link in the upper right corner. It's a playlist with all of the videos. The weather is so beautiful. I think it snowed around 30 centimeters in 24 hours. That's crazy for our region. But it's amazing. So in this video, I want to talk in depth about all the planning, everything that is involved building this thing basically, like the size of the cabin, the materials, the interior, how much water, where do we want to store water, how much diesel. I think kind of everything we know so far. It will probably change again. We recognized that during previous builds, like you change, you have different iterations over time. And I think one really positive thing that could come out of this is actually everyone who built a car before, and you will see our ideas, has other ideas or input. So maybe you have good ideas how to solve problems. We don't have a solution yet, so feel free to answer in the comments. Don't worry, I won't teach you fancy coffee recipes, not yet. Bear in mind, this is only our idea of our perfect build. We want to be as compact as possible, but have a little bit more space than in the G to just have a little bit more comfort. You might have really different ideas and preferences what might be your perfect build. It's completely individual. It depends on the style of traveling you're doing, the destinations where you want to go, and also the factor of how much comfort you want. The Iveco will be the result of our two previous builds, and the Iveco will combine the learnings of those two builds, the mistakes we made, and also the things we recognized that worked out really well. But I think it's safe to say that probably the build after the Iveco will be different again, because probably our needs will have shifted and we will have new learnings with this one. So even our own perfect ideas will change over time. But to be honest, I think there are ridiculous builds out there. Just saying. But who am I to judge? As you can see, we have proper winter at the moment, and that's less than ideal for bodywork, painting, fixing the bonnet. My plan is to do that in spring when there is better weather and better temperatures. We will ideally order all the parts for the box itself while I do the bodywork, so that we can continue seamlessly with the box after spring, basically, because we need the temperatures as well. If all of that works out, fingers crossed, I will start with the interior build, I think during autumn through winter. Fortunately, I have a place for that. That place is not big enough for building the box, or I would say it's big enough for building the box, but we won't get it out there once it's built. But I can do all the furniture in there, and once the box is done, I have a roof over my head, so I can build some of the furniture in there, I can put it in there, I can heat the box, so it makes everything much easier, and I have a small dry place for that kind of work. As you can see, it's kind of a tight schedule, it's a little bit stressful, but the problem is if we won't make it in this time frame, the next chance is spring of 27, unless we find a workshop. But it's really hard to predict those kind of things. For the G, it took us 5 years, and we would have never thought that it would take so long. I think there are some mistakes we made with the G. We won't make those mistakes again, so they won't cost us that much time. But let's talk again in a year or 5, we will see. But that's the rough plan. First, I will start with the external accessories. I ordered 2 new big 110 liter fuel tanks. One will go on this side and one on the other. And that should give us, I think, around 1,500 kilometers and probably half in the sand. And I think that should be sufficient for our type of traveling. At the moment we only have 1 tank here on the driver's side. This is the battery tray, and it really doesn't make sense for us to keep it out here. It's just a waste of space, and it's much better to have the second tank out here. The new tanks are a little bit longer than the one we have at the moment, so I will need to build some kind of bracket for here to move the tank a little bit further out to get in front of the leaf spring bracket. Additionally, I want to install a second fuel gauge and just a mechanical switch somewhere between the tanks. I know there are a lot of different solutions. I don't want to pump fuel from one tank to the other. I just directly want to take either from this tank or from the other one, and I don't want a second pump or whatever. And the second gauge, because I know myself and I know there will be the situation that I will switch to the full new tank and it won't be full. So at all times I want to have 2 gauges to just see it's full or it's not full, just to be on the safe side and make it kind of stupidly simple. We want to use this space inside the steps for some storage. We have it on both sides, and I think it's ideal for oils, tools, recovery equipment, and basically everything that you don't want or need inside of the car. It might be a good spot for an air compressor as well, but if we decide to not have it under there, we have a nice spot inside of the engine bay. In here is some space because I removed the faulty air condenser, and I think I could fit a compressor somewhere on here on this bracket. And there even might be the option to use a mechanically driven compressor off the engine actually, because I have one pulley left over because of removing all of the AC stuff, but that seems quite complicated. I don't know, but it would be really cool. It would be like a proper compressor like in a big truck. But one thing for sure, we know that we don't want to have a portable compressor. We had that in the beginning in the G and it was super annoying. We learned the hard way the first time we went to Sahara, and you have to open the bonnet like 10 times a day to reinflate your tires. Then you have the hot compressor. You don't know where to store it again because you can't put it in the normal storage compartment where it was in before because it's too hot. And luckily we had friends with us and they were refilling our tires as well, so we could leave our compressor and don't use it. But I found a really good solution for the G. I'll show you. We are behind the driver's seat now, and what I did, I just cut off the normal clamps for the battery and attached this NATO plug. All NATO vehicles have an electric socket for this plug, so I can just plug the compressor into the NATO socket and I don't need to go into the engine bay and connect it to the batteries. Our car has the socket here in the middle, so it's perfect. You just do it from the inside, connect the compressor, and once you're done, you just take it from the electricity. So I kind of converted this normal compressor to a stationary one, and now to the box itself and the interior. Okay, so now the cabin and the interior. I won't do that alone, so welcome Danja.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Danja, and I'm usually more involved in the planning of our builds, so that's why I'm part of the video today.
Okay, let's start with the box itself and the measurements.
So the box will be about 3 meters 10 long, and we want to have a total width on the inside of 2 meters. So with the walls, it will be about 2 meters 7 wide or something like that, depending on what kind of sandwich plates we'll get. And then we'll probably have a height of about 2 meters, and we'll see how much height we actually need, because max is 186 tall, and yeah, you don't want to bump on the ceiling with your hair.
Yeah, we kind of want to stick to the measurements of the car, the width of the car itself, and that's around 2 meters, but we chose the car because of the width, so that we can have a transverse bed. The reason why we want to choose more like thinner plates is that we don't necessarily want to travel to really cold regions, so something between those 3.5 and 4 centimeters should be fine. And we also want to keep the width of at least 2 meters inside, so that I can sleep in that transverse bed, because that won't be possible if we have really thick walls. We didn't decide on specific measurements yet, because we need to talk to the manufacturer whose panels we will buy, because we need their experience. Maybe they will say it's too thin or whatever. Like, we don't know all those details, so it will depend on their experience.
About the cabin itself and the openings, we want a door on the passenger side and basically a window on each side. So one on the passenger side, one on the back, and one on the driver's side, close to the seating area, and one roof window, which will be in the entrance, which will also be a shower, so extra humidity can get out when we take a shower. And then we also want to have a passage to the cab. Reason being is mainly Pongo. If he's in the back and we're driving, we don't want to lock him in the back inside and don't know what he's up to or if he's okay. But also to us, it happens quite often that we forget something in the cab. With our small car, it doesn't really matter because you can just reach to the front. But I think in a bigger car, it would also always mean getting out of the car and getting into the back, walking around the car, which in some weather conditions might be very annoying.
And I think one big reason is that we have light,
yes,
like as much light as possible inside of the cabin, because it's quite small and it will be dark in there. So that's one of the reasons to have light from every side.
Yeah. About the interior build, I will start with the entrance, which is going to be an entrance and a shower/bathroom. The reasons for that is we want to use our space efficiently. In another draft that we did of the interior, the bathroom is a separate room, but we noticed that we will lose quite a lot of space with it. So this way we save some space, and we also have a mud trap right in the entrance with the shower tray in the bottom, which we find quite nice.
Next to the entrance will be the seating area. It's possible to transform it to a small bed if we have a guest. And why we opted for that as well is that Pongo needs a space to sleep, and we don't want to have him laying on the floor next to the kitchen or somewhere where he's in the way. So with that kind of longer bench behind the driver's cab, basically, there's enough space for one of us and Pongo being on there. And it's actually perfect for the crawl through, to have that kind of step in front of it to just get through there better. Under that seating area will be the water. It's the perfect position. It's either above the axle or maybe even in front. I think you know better. I think it's
in front of the axle.
So the weight distribution is actually perfect, and we try to have, let's say, at least 100 liters, but I think around 150 would be perfect.
We will need to build a platform anyways because of the wheel arch that we need to build into the cabin. So in order to have proper flooring, we will build a platform for the seating area, and then there is quite some space underneath. Behind the seating area, there will be some sort of sideboard. I think we will have the fridge in there, but we'll see about that. It depends a little bit on how much space it actually is. And then in the back, we will have a transverse bed, which we can extend to, I think we decided on about 1.50 meters.
Yeah, that's what we had in the G,
yeah.
And it worked out fine.
Yeah. So like this in a folded position, it's 70 centimeters in width.
The idea behind that is that if one of us is sick or wants to lay down or whatever, we are not blocking the whole box. So you can still be inside of the bed, half of the bed. And also if one of us wakes up really early and wants to work or whatever, we have the possibility of sitting and laying down at the same time.
On the passenger side, along the wall will be the kitchen. Right now, if we keep the measurements, it's about 130 in width. We really want to install an oven this time as well, and quite a big sink. And then we also want to have some space for cutting. And above the kitchen will be a long but hopefully quite narrow hanging storage for kitchen stuff, but it will extend above the bed as well. So we can also use it to store some random stuff or maybe clothes?
I think everything without weight, basically. Under the bed, we will have kind of a garage, like big, spacious storage. It will be accessible from the outside. We also thought about having access from the inside, from the corridor. We want to build the interior with queen ply again. We used that for the G as well, because we have a weight issue again, I would say. So we really want to keep an eye on the weight, and we would love to keep the weight of the whole Iveco under 3.5 tons. So we really need to compromise to get the right weight. Initially, we were against having gas inside of the car because everyone always talks about the problems with using gas. But actually, I think it is not as big of a problem as it is made to be. So I think we will have a small 30-liter gas tank under the car, because we definitely will need it for the oven, but we will use a diesel heater, so the gas consumption won't be as high, so you don't need to refill all the time and have those kind of issues people are talking about.
So this is our plan for now. We don't have any fixed measurements yet. We don't know exactly what sizes the windows will be, where the furnitures will be placed exactly. So we need to do a lot more research on that. Also, what kind of fridge we want, what kind of sink we want. And yeah, I think that we will figure that out within the next few weeks. But we're quite happy that we already have a layout for the interior, and that we already have a 3D model and can visualize what we want to do and talk about it.
I think basically it really depends on talking to the experts who will build the panels, for example. So we will base our decision on their experience. I think there are those kind of pieces, and now we will kind of put them together bit by bit.
Cut!
Pongo is really happy about all the planning. I was editing and I just recognized that I didn't have an outro. So this was a lot of talking. I hope it was interesting nonetheless, and see you next week. Crazy. I got some snow in my neck already, but nothing dangerous. That's really good. Oof! Now that was the one.